In a world of writers, actors, and actresses, you dare to act harder.
1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The old dark dog awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock.
Mommy made me mash my M&Ms, bum bum. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms, bum bum.
You dare to write harder. You need a break to express your talent.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
A break to change your life. An individual to help you be seen and heard. You've earned your big break.
Well, okay. Hello, and welcome to week 10 of the Big Break, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And this is wild. 10 weeks. 10-week season, the end of auditions for season 1. We have had an incredible journey. We're blessed to be joined today by a plethora of amazing judges here. We have back with us is Kevin Brief. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. True Collins once again, and of course the amazing Aaron Cottrell. So thank you all for being with us here. It's man, it was really awesome to have you, all three of you, going through auditions this week. I know there was a lot of tough decisions both on our end and your end, and this season has been crazy. Just for everyone watching, to get a sense for the people that have been coming and auditioning and going after the Big Break. As of the end of our first season, the Big Break has not only gone coast to coast over the U.S. You've seen we've had winners coming from Washington State, New York, Texas, and all over. We have, of course, a winner from Australia. We have a winner coming from Portugal who will be flying out. The Big Break has actually hit, as of this point, 20 different countries in our scope. It's a humbling experience for us over here, and it's a wild time. We thank you all for our audience who's been watching, supporting all of our aspiring actors. Thank you for coming and viewing them. We hope that you coming out is going to help open doors for them, and that's why we're here. But to our judges, before we're going to quickly bring our winners out, because I know it's what everyone really wants to say. But really quick, I'd like to just discuss with our judges. They've all been with us on a previous week. They've been with us through this journey, and what's been fascinating to me has been watching as the auditions kind of progress. As we've had people coming back week after week, and what's really cool for us is seeing that progression as people are growing in their craft and trying on new things and making bold decisions. All of you saw a different week of auditions, and maybe if some of you want to comment, just kind of what did you see, what kind of stood out on this week, maybe in comparison to, say, the previous week that was very specific in category. What were some of your thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I'm the old man, and I was here for week 2, so it was very in its infancy. Yeah, and I've seen quite a growth. And nothing against the folks that did my week. The week I did was for comedy, which is always an interesting challenge, particularly in a monologue situation where you're not getting any reaction from anybody. Yeah, I saw quite a. Oh gosh, I don't want to insult anybody from week 2 because everybody was great then, but I'll tell you what, I don't know about how Drew and Aaron felt, but this was a really tough week. There were some really, really good. I'm kind of heartened that we all kind of ended up kind of picking the same person. So it shows like maybe I do have some taste to know what I'm doing because we went the same way, as it turned out. But yeah, really. So as far as the quality, I don't want to say the word quality, but they were better this week than maybe they've been. No. I don't know. It's been fun for me to see from because I feel like when I did it, it was almost like a whole different world compared to how many people have been coming in and how many more names I've seen. I don't know if like anybody this week was somebody in my week. I don't think so, but I was able to watch people week after week. Some that made it a couple times, I think. One. I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful women because I think I'm rambling now. And
you're spot on. Honestly, because the decision was so hard to make because all of the tapes were so good. When you said that it was our number one was unanimous, I was honestly shocked because although it was an incredible performance without question, obviously, I was surprised because it was a difficult decision and we all made that same difficult decision. I felt like this week because I was just here 2 weeks ago, and so I do have some of the same contestants, and I noticed growth even in the 2 weeks. I felt this week that people chose material that they really emotionally connected with, as opposed to these far reaches. It felt like everybody's choice resonated with them personally, and I really felt that deep connection in a way that I didn't see consistently the last time I was here. Granted, I was also here musical theater week, so it's a different vibe. But I really felt like and I felt like people chose things that connected with them emotionally, but the choices themselves, a lot of them were bold choices. A lot of people took plays or films and really flipped them on their head, which I thought was super interesting. So it was like the actors chose the work that resonated with them in the heart of the character, even if the character themselves was totally different from who they are. So people took male roles, male monologue, females did male monologues, and old people did young people monologues, and everybody kind of really just stuck to what it felt like, chose what material resonated with them personally. So I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah,
really
it shows like maturity as an actor, I think.
Yeah. Here's my question. How much of what we did, the commentary, was released to everybody? Did everyone get to see all the commentary?
That's a great question. There's actually only a portion has actually been finished. This is from our perspective, to be frank with our audience. We are a wee bit backlogged in our video editing. So I know that the commentary from Kevin's week is up. The commentary from Robert's week is up. I believe that Aaron's is either posted or in the process of being posted. And we're still working. So the truth is, as much as I would have loved for them to have it, there's actually only been a portion of the commentary they've actually seen. So the growth you've seen has been fully organic, and they basically have taken what they did, watched the show, and then just took it from there, essentially from the general advice that was given. Interesting point, because it's been said that our judges were unanimous. Just so everyone knows, there was no going back and forth either. They actually, right before we came online, they were asking, "Hey, who won?" It was a totally independent decision for them to come up with, which was really amazing.
I felt pretty strongly about mine, but I was like, part of me was like, God, what if everybody thinks this one was really bad? They'll think I'm an idiot.
No,
What's with that guy choosing that one?
I did too. The winner that we chose there was an instinctual connection to the artist.
Yeah,
it's very true.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was riveted like inside of the silences, and to me that always speaks like, oh, I'm just right here. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm really glad that you answered that question though, Andy, about the commentary, because I was wondering, I thought, those people took the notes that I gave, because I did see some people come back from week 5. I was like, oh good, they got the note about filming tighter or about being more grounded, and And then, but clearly not. Clearly not. They found that on their own.
It's
So, good for them.
the level of engagement we've seen has been really wild. It's we've actually had a surprising. It was surprising me. People have just been sticking to it. We have had a bunch of people who came out week 1, week 2, and they've been going for it week after week after week after week. And this was actually interesting. I want to go ahead and start bringing out our winners out because I know folks want to see that. But the one I'll say about our first one that we're going to bring, we're going to bring out first the popular pick from this one that our audience believed, they supported, they wanted to see win. And the interesting thing is this person has actually come out several different times and auditioned, and they went after it over and over. This was actually the first time that they had been on our top list when the audience selected them as our winner, and I think that's a real testament that this week her work was phenomenal, and this week especially things hit a wonderful stride. So without further ado, please allow me. We're going to take a quick peek at the audition that the audience chose as their favorite, and then we're gonna bring her out. So here we are, audience. This was your favorite audition for the week.
Hi, my name is Elena Gioraci. I'm 34 years old and I live in Los Angeles, California. Today I'm auditioning for week 10 of the Big Break Audition Challenge, and I'll be doing a monologue from La La Land. Why did you come here? I know who she is. No, I'm not going. No, that will kill me. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm happier here. No, I'm not. I'm not going. Because it's another audition. I've been to 1 million auditions and same things happens every time.
Okay, so, all right, so Helena, the reason I'm calling is because, as you know, you were selected for our top list this week, and as such, I was notified shortly after that there was something that I needed to go over with you concerning your audition, and as it turns out, what I needed to go over with you was the fact that not only did we think your audition was amazing and that you deserve to be on the top list, but apparently our audience apparently thought the same. And Helen, what I'm actually calling to tell you is that the community rallied around you, and you have actually been our top voted winner for this week. I'm actually calling to congratulate you and tell you you've won a spot and to welcome you onto the show.
That's amazing. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so good. Oh my god, I can't believe that.
Oh man, we're so happy. We're so happy for you.
Oh my god. I was like, I don't know, I was trying the last few weeks, and this time I was like, okay, should I do it? Okay, let's do it. And then,
well, we're very glad you kept going. We're glad you kept at it, and you did a fabulous job. So we're just thrilled for you. We're just thrilled for you.
that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now you're very welcome. So we're going to be in touch shortly to go over details. But for now, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing.
All right, so folks, without further ado, your top voted favorite audition and winner, Helena, please come on out. Come on out. Congratulations, week 10 winner.
Thank you.
Fabulous job. And it's true. You've been coming out. You've been auditioning for several weeks. We are so pleased that you kept going, and apparently our audience is really happy with it too. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited. I mean, as you said, I did a few times, and this time it was like, okay, let's try one more time, and I got the audience. So I'm really excited. That's a great opportunity.
We're thrilled for you. But as much as I could talk about how much I loved your audition, I think our judges are far more qualified to talk about it. Guys, what were some of your thoughts that really stood out for Helena's audition for you this week?
I felt.
Looking it up. Oh, go ahead, please. Sorry.
Hi. First of all, congratulations. And
Thank you.
I loved it. And it's so interesting. We were just talking about how, like, the audience just wants to feel whatever you're feeling, and your audition was so. I feel like we're constantly saying, like, raise the stakes, raise the stakes, raise the stakes, and I felt that, like, the stakes were so freaking high in your scene, but you were still, and you had the stillness of your body, but all of the intensity of your soul emanating from your eyes. Like this, it was like you weren't trying. We just felt I felt like we really felt viscerally your emotions in your audition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think too, it was such a great thing to talk about. The subject matter was so smart because you have so many actors watching this too.
Mm-hmm.
So we all identified with it. So it was so gut-wrenching in its topic. And so I think that was just a really smart choice to make, and such an easy thing to connect with. Not just for you, but for all of us. So bravo for that choice. I think that was really, really well chosen.
And I as far as the choice, it's always tricky too to do anything like. I think when you bring I'm sorry, I got something playing here. To bring in something with show busy or acty stuff about an actor into your piece, which is I don't know if it's tricky, but sometimes it's particularly for not in this situation today, but with the auditors, people that are watching it. If you're like some kind of other, they're like, oh, okay, another actor talking about acting or whatever, as opposed to finding other. Not that it's not a very deep subject for all of us, and we can relate to the depth of the emotions and the feelings. But I don't know if you, True and Aaron, you guys agree with that or not. It's just I don't know. So for that to be successful, I think it's really cool.
It's hard for the regular public to connect with how intense this world is for us. Like again, the stakes are so high in this world, but to everybody else, it's like, okay, you put on makeup and play pretend. But that's what I loved about your audition is, regardless of that, I feel like anybody would viscerally, emotionally connect because the stakes, we felt this, how high the stakes were. Mm-hmm. And I sort of feel like all of us judges are on the same page with that.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how often you guys how many times have people come up to you and said, "Hey, how do you do those commercials? I want to do that. How do you, how do you?" Like I said, everybody, no one goes up to an opera singer and says, "I've always wanted to be that. I want to do that. How do I do that?" Or a ballet dancer. Yeah, I used to ballet dance in elementary school. How do you do that? But everybody, I've done some plays. I did this. Looks pretty easy. How do you guys? How do you get one of those commercials? How do you get one of those TV shows? That looks like a lot of fun, And plus, we get asked a lot, how much do you make? What did you make doing that? It's like, I don't know. What do you make? It's kind of a tough thing.
Yeah.
By the way, for anybody that wants to answer that question, it's the amount for me I've come up with. Oh, I made whatever. I made this much on that job. You made that much for 1 day's work? No. I made that for 1 day's employment. 20 years work. 1 day's employment.
Yeah, it's I think the great phrase I heard is it generally takes about 10 years to become an overnight success. It's
but we digress. Sorry.
Yeah. I do. Helena, again, congratulations. I know we have one more. We have one more that we want to bring out. We've been talking how our judges were unanimous in this pick, and much in the way the public was for Helena. So, without further ado, let me please introduce everybody to the audition and the winner that took our judges by storm this week.
What kind of person was he? What kind of person is anyone? Survived by his wife, Melody, 25 years of age, 25 years old. Also survived by his mother, Hope, 50-something, of Connecticut, and Frank, his father, who died when he was young of cancer. Craig was a corporate lawyer. He merged and purchased things. He liked coconut cream cake. No, red velvet. He liked red velvet more. And he liked Willie Nelson and Seinfeld reruns. And he made the best fettuccine Alfredo. And when he made it, he used to do this thing with the noodles. He'd be like, I'm the fettuccine monster. I'm the fettuccine. Never mind. That's stupid. He like. Yeah, it's on.
Okay. So Casey, let's see. Let me go through this. The reason I'm calling is because we've been reviewing all of the auditions from this week, and as you know, you were selected for our top list. However, then something came up that did require this particular phone call, and the thing that actually happened was I got a notification from 3 different people concerning your auditions. Those 3 people happened to be our judges. And the thing they decided to notify me of was that your audition's the one that they decided to select as the top winner for this week.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually calling to congratulate you that you've actually been the selected winner for this week. And I'm calling to welcome you to our show.
Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That is so, to know that the judges selected me is so, just an amazing feeling. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We were thrilled by it. They were, and we all think you did phenomenal work. We're really excited actually to work with you and have you on the show. You should be very proud of what you've accomplished.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And after this slow many months of with COVID and acting stuff just being so slow, it's so nice to have a nice opportunity come up. So. What a great way to kick off 6 months of nothing. It's really great.
Well, yeah, we definitely know how things can be. We definitely know how things can be, up and down, slow for periods. But you clearly got some stick-to-itiveness, and you put a lot of work into your craft. So we're really proud to have you on our show. So we're going to be in touch. We'll be in touch very shortly, and we'll go over some details with you. Okay,
oh,
congratulations,
wow. The judges
Casey.
did? Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, here we are. Man, our unanimously decided winner for the week. Casey, please come on out. Congratulations on being selected for week 10. We are thrilled for you.
Thank you so much. I'm really just blown away. I have no words for all the kind words you guys said and being chosen. It's just a wonderful feeling. So thank you.
It's well deserved. The one thing I'll say real quick is when we were going through the mountain of auditions that we were going through, and part of this obviously it's not to take away from anyone else's. Casey's was the first one we came across as we're going through audition after audition after audition that stopped us cold. We watched her audition just once, and it's I think I said this to you. I felt so much emotion in what you did that me and my wife we had to pause and watch it again, and we felt it in our gut, and there was not even a question or a hesitation that you deserved a spot on the top list, and I think that's translated out to be very true for everyone. So we're glad you came out. We really are.
Thank you. Well, it's like being in LA for a couple of years and just clawing your way through it, and just for that one, recognition, that one compliment, the one yes, so just hearing a yes or a compliment here, it makes it all worth it. So thank you.
You're done. You made it.
Mission accomplished.
I got my compliment. I'm retiring.
But how about our judges? I'm sure all of you got some wonderful things to say. So by all means, why don't we, Erin, do you want to start us out and talk about Casey's audition a little bit?
Sure. I kind of said it a little bit before, but I was so riveted the entire time you were speaking. It was subtle and natural. You made choices that were so specific to you. I think somebody, anybody else would have read it and thought, okay, this is how I have to read this. You made these, I could see your thought process the entire time. Every decision, oh, no, he likes this cake and not this cake. Oh, it was so natural.
Beautiful, yeah.
Honestly, I could have been just watching somebody speak. And to me, that is the highest compliment, is I completely forgot you were not just a person talking about somebody that you had lost. It was something I was like, oh, you could just stick her on TV right now. Like was so perfectly done. And this is going to sound really strange. I don't know if anybody else got this vibe. I got this like Jenna Fisher from The Office vibe from you. Do you ever get that? Have you ever heard that?
I once was told in acting class that they got an Angela vibe from The Office.
Oh, no, you're
not sure, but thank you.
Pam. More Pam than, you know, but in like the loveliest, subtlest, honest way, you know. And it was like, you know, that show is different from what your monologue was, because I think your monologue was really heartfelt and very, very honest and beautiful. But yeah, it was really, really clear. I just stopped still, just like Andy said, and I watched this and I was like, oh, okay, done. Yeah, we got it. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Really, and I love Jenna Fisher, so that's a wonderful compliment. And it's not that they thought that I was like as much of a snob as Angela, but they were like, oh, you're so understated and dry in your humor. It was in comedy class, and they're like, you know, like mockumentary style, but I'm like kind of a type A character type often, so they were like, Angela, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure why, you know, how else who can do that as well as she can, but thank you, that's very, very, very.
Well, at least it wasn't Dwight, you know.
Right.
You know, true. I remember talking in a previous week around. We had a lot of focus on, you know, a couple specific things. If I recall, was about, you know, in making sure really the eye contact, the positioning on the face to see the emotions. There were a lot of technical aspects that you really coached on, I think, that were really valuable. Do you want to talk a little bit about how some of those played really well into both our winners' auditions, and, you know, some of the really smart, you know, choices they made that really kind of stood out in their work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. We're constantly telling people do less, do less, do less. And if you're having the feelings, you don't need to do anything, and the camera can read your mind. And I teach a class on self-taping, so like I'm kind of a stickler for all of that technical stuff. And I will say, you really both covered this. I specifically felt it from our winner, but I felt the stillness in both of your auditions, the eye lines too, just like how subtle. If you're really having the thoughts, it's so simple, but if you're really having the thoughts and your eye lines are strong, that's really all you need for a really strong self-tape. People try to do so much and they try to show so much, and the truth is, like, if you're just feeling it, you don't need to show us because we can see it. And I really, really felt that in honestly in both of your auditions. You kind of took us on this emotional roller coaster without feeling like we were on a physical roller coaster. Like, we were there grounded with our feet on the ground with you, and yet emotionally we were like up and down, and it was all over the place. And so that's what I really loved. And I love what Aaron said. The one line that you mentioned was the line I loved.
Red velvet.
Coconut cake, and then went
the
cake.
Red velvet cake.
Yeah, you allowed yourself, you didn't play it, you allowed yourself to really be immersed in the memory. And so even sometimes his memory, you didn't play the sad factor too much. You didn't play the result of it. You didn't play the genre. You just played the truth of how you felt about the guy, about the character, and you let that trigger you. Honestly, I felt like both of your auditions, you were constantly being triggered, which is hard because we overplan and we overcraft and we don't allow ourselves to be just triggered in the moment. And both of your auditions felt very raw in that way. Mm-hmm. But so I thought it was such a good blend of both being emotionally raw and emotionally fresh, and yet technically very crafted, very specific. It felt very well technically crafted, and yet the emotions were so raw. Does that make sense?
Kevin.
Yeah.
We got your back. Of course it makes perfect sense. It's judge talk, people. You may not understand it, but you know. Yeah, for me, one thing. Let me just flash back to one thing. One big difference I've seen from my week 2 today. Technically, people have been getting so much better on shooting these things. And True's right. You know, it's about the performance, and sometimes that really just cuts through anything. I know people have gotten past holding their cell phone like this as they're driving. You know, rare, but when you have the framing right and the eye lines right, and it just really, I don't look for the technical stuff necessarily, but boy, it sure brings me into the performance better. It doesn't. And anyway, it was just as everybody said, it was just very compelling performance. I personally, because I was paranoid that I would be the only one with this choice or something, I kept going back and watching a few that are between, and I just by the end I was just like, no, it's just very compelling. I think the simplicity of it, and if this is a trick for everybody, you know, there's some, particularly on camera, the simplicity is your friend. You always want to be an actor and then find these moments, and like for example, with the cake moment we're talking about, there was no moment of like, oh damn, I got the wrong cake. I mean, I said the wrong thing. The actor didn't make a choice like, oops, I said the wrong cake. I better say the right cake. I'm not making any sense, but the simplicity, and also the eyes, the way the eyes are you've heard this, eyes are the camera reads everything in your eyes, and they're the windows to the soul, and so much was happening in your eyes, and not just when you were talking to the person, but when you would look, the moments you look away, I would love. And I know they weren't, folks, I'm not saying she planned these, and I don't think she did. Just being in the moment and feeling the connection. I would say don't look for that. Don't try to be, I'm going to move my eyes now, because that's what they said was a really good thing to do. But just be aware, you don't have to be, people don't talk to people, look at people all the time they're talking to them. You know, we don't do that in real life. So, I don't know, I'm rambling a little bit, but it was just a very compelling, beautiful, connected performance on just about every level. I was very touched, and I thought it was really great. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm just totally. I have no words. So thank you. It means so much to me. Truly, all these little things you're mentioning about, the technicality and the eye lines and being in the moment. It seems so simple when you're, watching sometimes after a good take, but it's like things I just, you take a whole class for a year on this technical stuff that you, like you're saying, overdoing in the eye lines, whatever, and it's just finally one day it just can click. If you have the right material that you work on and whatever and feel right with, then it just I'm so happy that it came together. So thank you very much for those words. I'm truly touched and speechless. So
it's like you have to study and study and study and do these things and listen to us talk about a bunch of BS and then forget everything that you ever know.
That's the old thing. Yeah.
Technicalities and then forget it all in the moment is like, it's so hard, but
it's so complicated.
And and being on set too, aside from like doing all the self-tape, there's also, I feel like you've got 3 separate brains operating. You have the life of your character operating, you have the life of the technical director in your mind, like where is the light, am I in the shadow, am I on my mark, then you have your own life that's like way back here, and so there's this like split personality thing that you have to train your brain to do, and that's a skill, and it really doesn't come until you've done it over and over and over again. So it seems like you're like landing all of these classes and things that have happened, it's all kind of landing right here.
It kind of came together in a good place in this moment. But you guys, when you record as you watch yourself back, I think the more and more you watch yourself, you're gonna see. It seems like the smaller you do things, the better it's gonna be, without being like, I'm gonna do this small. But it's just a matter of you don't have to project that far out when the camera's right here. You just want to live the life and live the reality, the truth of that moment that you're working on. Helena,
I was saying.
Were you saying something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. No, I was saying that for me, it's one of the hardest thing, in fact, is to be aware of the technicalities, but then forget about them and be in the moment. And it's still a challenge for me, like totally. I need to forget about, okay, the light and look there and do this and do that. But then at the same time, so I don't have to think about them. I need to be in the moment, be present. And I think with experience and all the classes that we are taking, and it's a journey. And one day, as you were saying, like you put everything together and things clicks. It just click. Yeah.
You know, one of the
material that you're connected to emotionally naturally also really helps, which I think you guys both did.
Yeah,
Something
the material is really strong.
Yeah, being smart about what you choose for yourself and not trying to reach for the fucking stars. Sorry, oh my god, sorry, but
You can say stars. It's okay. You can say stars.
good save, Cam. Not trying, but finding something. Sometimes actors feel like, oh, I need to do an Irish accent and have it set in the 1800s for me to be a real actor, and it's like, no, you should find something that you're connected to and show your best self, which you guys both did, which I thought was, immediately we were emotionally drawn to you because we believed you because you were connected to it.
Yeah, for me, when I believe, it's just that for me that's connection. When I just believe you, and I know that seems really silly, but it's an intangible. That when you hit it, you hit it. I guess. How's that for lessons?
One of the things I've heard week after week, and I think this is really a testament to what we saw this week, was, and this is kind of what everyone is kind of saying without saying, is the work. And that we've heard over and over. It's funny, we were talking about this. It's people may, in this profession, in the acting, people, oh yeah, I was in this play, or I did this, and so I should, everyone, a lot of people probably think they can act, and it's something that is purely some kind of just natural talent. This lucky few people can just do it, and it's that's almost the same as saying, oh, that Olympic athlete who won a gold medal, well, he just has this natural talent. He's the one in a billion that can just do that, without noticing that. And I hope everyone realizes the sheer amount of work that Helena and Casey put into what they've done. This was a 2-minute audition that has years of practice and work and learning behind it. And for the people, so for everyone watching, to understand what our auditioners went through, to some degree, if you want to see, one of the big examples I always pick for in Hollywood would be if you want to see what emotionally and mentally our auditioners are going through, look at what someone like Christian Bale goes through physically between roles. And you see a person who gains 100 pounds, loses 100 pounds, and transforms themselves physically. Now imagine doing that in your mind and taking on a role and truly becoming. And for someone like me, who is not the theater person, I'm not the professional actor here, but I felt such emotion in 2 minutes because of Casey and Helena's work, that behind that is years of mental work, going through what they went through, And Helena and Casey, would you guys, what would you guys like to, this actually be a great time? Would you guys like to say to there's a lot of other aspiring actors out there who maybe just need to be reminded, like, tell them about, like, the years of work that you have put in. I mean, I hear you saying it, the practice, the classes, and such. What are some things that you guys have done in preparation for this moment, for preparation to the audition that you put on that was so great?
Okay. For me, I think I try to get into the character and really study the personality of the character. If I can read the full script, for example, before doing a scene, it's what I tend to do, because I want to know the entire story from the beginning to end and try to know the character. I like to do a lot of improv as well, and inner monologue about the character that I'm going to play, to really connect with her. As you two were saying, I totally agree. There are some characters that they reflect more maybe my personality, or I can connect more to. For example, right now I'm working on a character for my acting class, who is extremely different from me, and it's a big challenge because I don't know how to play this character, and I am trying to fit in that character and understand what is the perception and the story of this character. So it's really studying. It's a lot of work and studying and finding new ways every time to explore. But sometimes you also get caught in a lot of technicalities that they don't help. So it's I think that it's the more experience you have and the more you are able to kind of really immerse yourself in what you're gonna play and try to forget about the technical part. So that's a little bit my experience personally. But I know
and that's, you hit upon a thing that I think is really smart to stretch yours. I was talking about find things that work for you. Sorry, my iPad is slipping and it's showing my backdrop. So sorry. You hit upon this thing of, I had talked about finding things that you relate to, but then in class, opposite, throw all that out the window and stretch yourself and try all the weirdest stuff you can. But when you're something like this, where it's an audition and you have the choice to choose your material and you want to put your best foot forward, say you're auditioning for a manager or an agent or something, choose something that connects to you like you did in this moment. But I love that you said in class, you're working on something that's so far from you, because you need to be able to do that to then connect to it's just two different art forms. In classes, sorry guys, this
this is not how you do it, folks.
Sorry about that. But yeah, what you do in class and what you do in an audition are two different things. You need to stretch yourself, and it's like going and working out at the gym and pushing yourself is going to be a different level of discipline that you have when you're actually, running the race.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And Casey, how about yourself? What were some, if you want to talk a little bit about your preparation and kind of how you brought out the you could say the natural, as we've been saying, the real natural emotional effect of the piece you took. How did you internalize that to, again, I'm asking from a person who is not trained in this craft. How did you go about the work of internalizing the emotions that came out so naturally in the work you did?
It's kind of a blur once I do something like this. Because it's such a big, investment, and then I just leave her. But I would say, it took, honestly, how many classes, I don't know, in my first year or 2 years in LA, of trying out all these different methods and styles and ways to try to get into a character, and there's some that are so much more technical and some that are so much more based on feeling, and then kind of finding just a way that worked for me that was kind of a combination of different things. And for this particular audition, this monologue, I certainly don't have a husband, nor do I even have a boyfriend right now, and I'm talking about this person who's died.
That, guys?
It's not like I'm trying to, I don't want to picture someone in my real life dying. I don't like that, I'm going to put my brother in this, because that's a different relationship to what the character would, and I don't want to be tied personally into that and then take that with me to bed that night and be upset because I'm picturing my brother dying. That's not how I like to do that. So it takes a long time for me personally, for an audition like this, of almost dreaming in this character's thoughts and going through all these memories and not making them planning out memories of this character, but letting them come to me and really living through them in the first person, not in my history, but living through them in the moment in my head, and kind of whether that's standing up and talking through it or laying down and closing my eyes, I don't know, it kind of depends, but really experiencing the love of this guy and in our history together, and then experience I'm there talking to the person, the will, the person writing the obituary, whatever, experiencing that loss right there in front of it. And so it's just, to me, it was just a more of an emotional journey of creating this person in my life, and our memories together. I think that was kind of my preparation for this, which was not, now I try to do that method, but that was not easy to get to that point, certainly, so. And I'm still working on it all the time. It's like you said, it depends on the type of character. Sometimes if the experience of the character are so far from what I've experienced, that is so much harder to do. So, I don't know, just working on it every time. Every time's a bit of practice and helps me a little bit for the next one. So.
And does that, for our judges, is that kind of a mirror of some of the experiences you guys take on, or in a sense, you could say some of the emotional preparation that you guys take on when you're preparing for a particularly, strong emotional piece or character?
Yeah, I mean, on some levels, I feel like anytime I would get something new, I would try to see, well, what are the similarities between me and this character that are always, that's right there, that's easy to tap into, and in what ways are we different? And often it's funny when True was saying about like you stretch in class, what you find out more often than not is that you have a lot more in common with these crazy people that you don't think you have in common with, that there is a common core of a humanity, which I think is the brilliance of this job, of this work, of this art, is that you find that we are all intermeshed. And so I always try to come from the similarities first, and then, like Casey was saying, try to reach and create the things that I may not have experienced in my own life yet. Things, and it's interesting, we were also talking about with Helena about living your life, and the more life you live, the more you bring to your work. I think about films that I've done in the past, if like I see them now, and in those films I had a husband and children, and I did not have a husband and children when I did them, and I think, wow, if I did that now, it would be so different and much better informed, to playing things where like you lose a child, how I played that then, now that I have a child, like it would be a whole different world. There's innate emotions that happen when you go through that and when you live it. So I think it depends on where you're coming from in your life, and trying to connect with it as much as you can, as Casey said, trying to create for yourself. And I think you said something really smart, Casey, too, about not bringing things home with you or bringing it to bed with you at night, about like the death of your brother, or creating things that you don't want to hold on to. I think that's one of the pitfalls that actors go through, and why there's hold for plane, where there's some mania and some, where people go through some pretty intense emotional turmoil, is because it's hard to process some of that. It's hard to let it go. It's hard, it sits in your body. You got to deal with it. You have to also learn how to release it and let it go. I also think you said something smart, Casey, about letting it be finished. When you're done with the audition, or when you're done with the job, or whatever it is, especially if it's intense, to be able to say, that's it, I am shelving this. Especially if you're like, don't be committed to an outcome, because I
that's the other reason I do it, because there's a lot of no's.
For sure. Like I have some wonderful, extremely talented girlfriends that just would beat themselves up in the car after the audition every time. And whether they did great or not, but they would hold on to it, and it really did nothing. Sometimes they would book the thing and sometimes not, but if you walk out going, I left it all in the room, and that's it, and that's enough, that's like the best thing you can do for your soul and your mental stability, is know that you prepped it, you did it, be proud of it, and then walk away and be able to create for the next thing. Otherwise, be an empty vessel for the next thing. Otherwise, you're pulling all this other junk into it. So,
yeah,
anyway.
As a young actor, which was a long time ago, best advice I got was when you go to audition, forget about it when you're done. And it's really hard to do. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. But if you forget about it, if you get the call, hey, wait, I got a job, and if you didn't get a call, you never did it anyway. So who cares? Otherwise, you'll drive yourself nuts if you let yourself get so attached to every role. Now and then, TV series regular comes along. If you don't get it, you could be upset for a while. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to go back real quick. Something Erin said that I really loved was the getting academic here, but Diderot, Denis Diderot, had it. French philosopher had the theory of the paradox of the actor, which is, yes, I'm performing, but I'm about people watching me, and I have to be aware of that, but I also know that I want to be in this moment with this person. And you added that third one in your being on the set. It's a really, I'd never thought of it that way, but it's true. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but the theory is You have to be real in the moment with what you're doing on the stage, but you know you have an audience too. You can't pretend there's a fourth wall, but you can't pretend they're not there because they're there. You know, it's part of the reality. And then to add the set and everything else to it is really a third division of that paradox. And get a triadox, I guess.
It's so different too when you're teaching theater or in theater or teaching theater. It's so different. And then when you're teaching on camera acting, you have to teach it differently. And I've done that a lot, going from, you know, kids that were in theater, you know, going into college and going into on camera. You've got to retrain some stuff, and you have to develop this other, you know, aspect of your brain. Thank you for acknowledging that, Kevin. I appreciate that.
And just one other thing I want to acknowledge that we were talking about a little bit with Helena.
Yes.
I think it was off air, but that she traveled quite a bit in the world, and a lot of time I get my students go, oh, should I just get out there and start doing it, or go to college, or you know, and I never want to discourage anybody from going to college. I mean, it's a young town, maybe you get out there now, but I don't want to say that out loud. But anything you learn just makes you a better actor. It's all feeds traveling, your art class, your English class, your history class. They all give you the tools. They fuel the characters you can build. So don't just be an actor. There's a world out there that's going to make you a better actor. I just don't. This sounds terrible. I remember years ago there was a Celebrity Jeopardy with kid actors, and they didn't know anything. It was so embarrassing to watch them. Clearly, these kids have just been they've been on a stage or in a set their whole lives. They didn't know that there was a world out there. And you're just robbing yourself of so many tools and so much enrichment. As a human being, you know, first of all, you're a human being. You know, you want to be a good one of those too and learn a lot. But I just encourage you not to just get so blinders, acting. I got to be an actor, an actress. I'm going to be the best. You know, experience the world too.
And with the exception of Helena's brilliant audition this week, you're usually not going to be playing an actor. Like, you're usually playing someone who's lived some other. So the more world that you live and the more life that you live, the more versatile you're, you know, the more versatile you are as an actor.
Well, we could probably keep going for quite a long time. However, as often happens, sadly, I have to be the one to say our time is starting to come to a close here. Now,
do the closing number now, or wait?
Are we all ready for the song and dance number we talked about, right?
I let the iPad go.
Is this where we? All right, everyone, theme song time. So, as we close up, this is my indulgence. The thing I always ask our winners every single week. This is my favorite question, or you could say question/request. So, to our winners, I ask this question every week at the end of our show, and because of the experience we had on our week one. On our week one, we had a winner who had described how they had actually almost wanted to write off acting, that they were discouraged by someone at the wrong time, and it was only because of the right encouragement at the last moment that got them to step forward and put an audition for it that ended up actually winning them a spot on the show. And it was a really touching moment when we learned that. And ever since that moment, I've always wanted our winners to kind of to tell the people watching something, you know, realizing that auditioning is hard, it's scary, putting yourself out there can be scary and difficult, let alone on the internet and in the format we're doing. But you know, to Helena first, I want to ask this. There's a lot of people watching. There's a lot of people who will see this who are feeling that. They're feeling right on the edge. They're not sure if they should try. They're not sure if they should go for a show, if they should audition. They're not sure if they're good enough to do it. And they just need that one word of encouragement. To the person out there who's watching, who's not sure they should go for it, what would you like to say to that person when you could?
Wow, that's a tough question. You know, like as I was mentioning before, like my other field of work is marketing and project management, which is completely different from acting. So some people can say like, you're crazy, what are you doing? You can be a project manager. I'm also a project manager in marketing, but I always felt this kind of creativity inside me since I was a kid, and I wasn't able to express it somehow specifically, but it was towards acting. And you know, friends around me were mentioning that. My mom was like, "You should be an actress. You're like too dramatic." And I use my hand. You know, I'm Italian, so I'm like every time, "Rah!" That's why for me self-tapes are so hard because I move too much. But yeah, so I think if you feel that fire inside you, and that thing that, you know, in the morning is like, I call them like the horses that, like, you know, in your stomach, just follow that instinct you have. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not an experienced actress. I started in Italy several years ago, and then I did like a 10 years break where I was traveling around the world, and I just got back to acting very recently. And this is a journey, and this is the start of a journey, especially in US as an international actress. Is also, I feel like it's even more complicated. But I want to do it, and let's see how it goes. So my suggestion will be just follow that fire that you feel in you, and get inspired by your own, you know, instinct. That's it.
It's consistently, it's people say this has to be something you love, this has to be something you feel deep inside. And I think that is because of a lot of things, because things that matter truly require passion. Things that matter, you know, you have to put a lot of work into, and sometimes you have to put a lot of risk out there, and that risk is rejection. And you don't know what someone else is going to say. You can't control the results, but you can control the work, you control the dream. And you know, Casey, for the person out there who has that dream, they have that fire, but again, they're just not sure if, you know, because I'm sure every actor has felt this. Should I go out for that audition? Do I really want to take that risk and go out there? To the person who's right on the fence, you know, what would you like to say to them?
Well, that was me but times 1,000. I grew up in an area that, in a family, in a society, culture from where I'm from that is so focused on traditional paths to success, academia, all that stuff. I was terrified knowing I wanted to act growing up. I did go to college. Definitely don't skip college. If you have the opportunity, don't move to LA. If you have the opportunity to go to college, go to college. But you know,
yeah, don't listen. I meant, that's what I meant. It didn't come out that way.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. But,
yeah, I went to college forever. So.
You know, when I was in this really high stakes, competitive academic environment in college, still terrified to tell anyone this is what I do. And I got to the point, I was like, I don't have to think about that until after I graduate, because I'm going to be here, you know, until I graduate. And then that point came, and I was like, you know what, I'm terrified, but there's no way this is ever going to happen if I don't try. So that was terrifying. Made my way to LA, was doing it for the last couple of years. Fast forward a couple of years, had one of the biggest auditions of my life a couple weeks ago. Biggest opportunity ever. Didn't get it. I got into the room, which was great, but I had a bit of a meltdown, as you know, anyone can experience as an actor. Gave myself one afternoon to have that meltdown, and considered, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It hurts too much. It hurts every time I get a no, and I know it takes 80, 90, 100 no's to get to the yes, but it hurts so much, and I don't know if I want to do it anymore. And I was just like, you know what? I'm never going to get the yes if I stop now. And that's going to hurt even more, because I'll have taken myself out of the game, and I'll still want it just as much, but like, there's no chance I can get close to it if I remove myself from it. I'm going to feel the pain either way, so I may as well continue to try to get to that point, because at least there's still a chance of getting there. But if you take yourself out, you're going to be hurt either way and not get it.
And it does get easier, can I just say?
Yeah.
The pain of not getting the audition, like, I hope that the other judges can attest to this, but I hope I'm not just jaded. But the pain of not getting the part, like Kevin was saying, you do eventually adapt to, I go to an audition, your job, you train yourself to believe that your job is auditioning, your job is not acting, your job is auditioning. And so when you go there and you do a good audition, like you're doing your job, it does get easier. It doesn't hurt that much forever. Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying don't put all your everything into it, but you do get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm doing the work, and I take pride in just doing the work. And then, you know, when you're working enough to fill in the blanks, the pain gets easier. I don't know. Does it for you guys?
Oh yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was totally getting easier up until this point. I was like, I got this, no big deal. I'm gonna forget. It was just this one was so.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, when you, I'm really good about tossing them. I didn't do it, so, but if it's a big thing,
yeah,
and you really want it, and it's change your life, and you don't get it, yeah, sure, take that afternoon, take that week, take that month. I don't know. That would really, that's very upsetting,
That's always gonna hurt. I told Andy this story, and I don't know how much this is circulated, but I had an amazing experience to be on the other side of the casting situation that gave me a perspective that changed everything about the way I auditioned and my reactions to it. So years and years ago, I had been cast as a series regular on a show, and I had about 4 months before we started to film that. And in that time, they were creating the show Medium with Patricia Arquette, and she was already cast in the show, but they had to do the screen tests for all the other actors. And she actually got too emotionally involved with the other people she was screen testing with. She felt too sensitive to be there for them. And they were filming it, not just in a room, they were actually filming parts of the pilot to see who would work for the screen test. So it was the same casting company, and they said, Erin, do you want to go in and be Patricia Arquette for this screen test to be with all of these other actors? And there were 3 or 4 actors per series regular role. And so I did these scenes. We filmed each one of these scenes with these actors. And I swear to God, every one of them was fantastic. All of them could have had it. And what I saw with who actually got cast, it had to do with how they wanted to work with the demographics as far as like different ethnicities. It had to do with charisma. The person that got one of the parts was definitely not the most prepared, but he was like really charming and kind of worked it out and had his own thing, and he got it. And it just really struck me that you could be doing the best work of your life, but there are decisions that are being made that we have no idea about. And so after that, it really made things click. Like, just do you. Just be you. And then when that dress fits, when you put it on and that part fits you, that's yours. If it doesn't, it was not supposed to be yours. I'm not trying to get all like airy-fairy about it, but like it wasn't. It's gonna fit somebody else better. And you're gonna struggle inside of it to try to fill the shoes of what they think you're supposed to be. So anyway.
Yeah, when the dress fits me,
that would be a lovely show. I make
it work in a way other people just can't. Did I jump in on you too? I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something?
No.
I just want to add a couple more things. We're talking more about the audition world a bit, but another thing that changed for me is when I discovered, and I got this, I kind of stole this a little bit from a friend, but your job is not to get the job when you go to an audition. Your job is just to bring the fullest life, whatever you decided to bring to this thing. And it's your chance to act for those 2 minutes of the day. You have no control if you get the role. So you can't go in there trying to get the role. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's really a skill to try to get to. And I'm not totally there. I've been doing this for 30-something years, and I still can't let go of it all the time. And also to the other 18 people that were in the top, bless you all, man. It's not like saving a child from an oncoming bus or something, but there's a bravery involved in doing this. You should be proud of yourselves for even taking this leap, and y'all everybody did a really good job. If you're watching, any of you, we all kind of pulled in on one performance particularly, but didn't mean it wasn't tough to narrow it down.
We all had lists, I think.
Yeah, we all had lists.
Yeah, all had lists. We had, I personally spoke to all of our top list folks, and it's true. There's a lot of parts that created a lot of raw emotion in us, and this was a blessed experience on our side from being able to experience that. And I want to give props, as we finish up here, I do want to give props to all of our top list people. As a reminder, as was brought up, we are working on providing all that amazing commentary that'll be coming out throughout November as we go through rehearsals. So So for quick housekeeping, I would like to, for our audience, as a quick update on our show. So week 10, our final audition week has taken place. But as we will be announcing something else soon. For those of you who have been watching our website and seen a couple of our announcements, we are on the verge of announcing. We had, in the background of all of our actors, we have had roughly 200 aspiring playwrights come to us with prospective plays that they would like to see done. And we are a very short period of time away from announcing our playlist for season 1. We're very excited to do that, and it was quite exhaustive work in the background, going through the plays and really just feeling there was some really amazing stuff. And I think this is going to be an absolute delightful show. The only hint I'm going to give is we're going to have a vast variety from comedies, dramas, short romances, even thrillers that we're going to see on stage, and it's going to be a wild ride when you see what our actors do for season 1. That being said, throughout November, folks, we are going into rehearsal mode now. With all of our actors, we are going to be doing some big announcements in the days ahead. We're going to have a lot of really cool shift in content as we begin showing you a little bit of the experience our actors are going to be going through in preparation for our final show, now that we're going to have our cast. Please check out our Instagram, as there is going to be some announcements about wild cards. As it turns out, we kept this entire audition process very natural, organic, so to speak, and a very hands-off experience from a production standpoint. We wanted the public to choose, we wanted our judges to choose, and the result of which, and we'll be announcing this shortly, is in comparison to the cast we have, to the cast we need, specifically gender roles that we need, we are going to be tossing out a couple wild cards and having a last week contest to bring on a few key delightful actors to fill out our cast. So while we won't be going through the exact same process, week 11 is going to be quick, dramatic, and really fun. Leading up to December, when we are finally going to put on our show for season 1. A quick thank you from our standpoint. The experience of the last 10 weeks from our standpoint has been, it's really been an amazing journey from all of us from a production side, because we've been blessed to work with not just folks that we have in front of us like Aaron, True, and Kevin, which we are always going to be grateful for, but also to all the people that came out and auditioned. For the past 10 weeks, we've had a plethora of just the human experience, and each of you has a remarkable story that's been going on in the background as you've been putting in the work and auditioning, and I want to just applaud all of you who came out. Those of you who won, those of you on the top list, and those of you who simply auditioned, I can't tell you how many times in the background we were cringing and desperate to include another handful of people on our list, to include that we'd want to cast even more of you if we could. So thank you for surprising us and just the world with the talent that we saw. This is what our show's about. And so that being said, I want to give a final thank you to everyone here today with us. Congratulations to our winners. A big thank you to our entire panel, which will be coming out in the future with an amazing commentary for our final week with. And as we move forward, guys, into the final month and a half of season 1, to our big performance, please stay tuned. We actually are going to be asking for some participation from our audience as our weeks go on with some of the cool content our winner's going to come out with. But just keep track of us, guys. Check us out on Instagram. Check out our GoFundMe if you so felt inclined to support amazing actors like Casey and Helena here, as it'll be a big help in our production for them. And I guess from all of us at The Big Break, thank you for an amazing 10 weeks. Break a leg, guys.